Dan Hollis was a member of the men's lacrosse team at Emerson. He would have been a member of the class of 2022.
He was one of the best teammates I ever had. He was so fun to be around.
You know, as soon as I met Dan, it was like, oh yeah, we're gonna be best friends. And we were competing for the same spot, and it really didn't matter.
He was my roommate my freshman year. First person I ever met in terms of like Emerson anything.
Dan was my upperclassman. He was my sophomore that took me and my roommate Lucas under his wing.
Dan is my brother. So he played on the Emerson lacrosse team for his freshman year and unfortunately wasn't able to play past that.
Dan played here his freshman year, and then the fall of his sophomore year, he was killed in an off-campus incident.
So we started this foundation in his honor, and so we love coming back here because Emerson was his home.
He's one of those guys who I saw play and emailed at like the exact same time he was making his list of schools, and he emailed me. Our emails crossed over, so it was like the rare occasion where you really want someone to come and they already really want to come.
I talked to him probably every other day, and he was always telling a story about the nonsense that happened on the walk from the dorms over here, how much food he was going to eat on the way back, and he just was constantly in awe of how much he loved being in Boston and being with his teammates, who all of you just clicked. And he had wonderful friends all growing up, but he said there was something special about his Emerson friends, that he never thought he could have friends like he had here.
He was constantly pursuing other projects.
He was very creative.
His love for music, his love for, fashion.
He loved drawing and painting and being artistic.
He just had like a vision that was like a lot more colorful than a lot of people.
Always had something to say and always had something to ask you about because he was curious about learning about his teammates and his friends and hearing stories and sharing stories and coming up with little jokes.
Happy to see you, had something to tell you, something to talk to you about. Felt like he just wanted to see you, you know?
He was inclusive and, nice. And when he walked into a room, it lit up.
When I talk to the guys about him, that's what I bring to them, and just what a great teammate he was and what a great friend he was.
I didn't know him personally, but the way that guys talk about him, and it feels like, he's like one of my good friends, you know what I mean?
Everything that I've heard has just been that he was sort of a beam of light.
Amazing, ray of sunshine on the team.
A lovable guy, fun, full of energy, and
he always just had that huge smile on his face.
Always had a smile on his face.
Big smile on his face.
Gigantic smile, ear to ear, big stud earrings.
He plays a huge part in what Emerson culture is and what we should try to strive to be as teammates.
And all the things that he stood for, kindness, joy, a smile on your face, are all things we should bring every day. And a lot of the 6 years do bring that.
I love everything about it. I feel that we continue to do it even after this 6-year class leaves.
Just speaks to how powerful and how much of a great teammate Dan was, that 5 years later and they still know that he was a great teammate. And it's really, bittersweet, I guess is the right word for that. So it's nice to know that all these people still care.
This is a fucking battle, man. It's just, this one would have been nice. We put ourselves in the hole before. Let them go, then get Malcolm. Go ahead, come on.
The things that make you valued here is being a good teammate and being a good person, and that makes life more enjoyable. And I think it makes a team better, just because when you're enjoying doing the hard work or even losing or whatever it is, it's just more enjoyable to be around, which makes you want to be there and show up and all of that stuff.
Dan's legacy lives on through the Dan Hollis Memorial Game. His number 27 jersey hung up in the locker room, and his practice jersey worn by the practice player of the week.
Sure, he's not going to be the front of their mind all the time, but when it's Monday and you're like, oh, I wonder who's gonna get 27. Now you're thinking. And even if it's just for a minute or two, you think about a minute or two over 25 weeks of a fall ball in a season, it's half your year that he's present with you.
Right. Like I saw you the last practice wearing 27. It's fun seeing, he's out on the field with us.
It is refreshing to know that Dan's memory still is impacting others, and we really just appreciate the continued support and look forward to continuing the partnership.
Most important of all the ways we remember Dan is the highly coveted Dan Hollis Teammate of the Year award.
I voted for Pierce. But that's because he asked me to.
How did he ask you?
He said, I better win this thing.
The end of the year award, there are probably 15 guys on the team who were like mad that they didn't win it, which isn't necessarily the spirit of the award, but they were, they wanted.
But it is
they
a little
wanted
bit.
to be
Dan
recognized.
would have wanted to win.
Yeah.
There are 5 or more guys on the team that also deserve to get the award. So.
And Grady tried to give it away. He was like, I don't. It's like this is why you're gonna win. You can't. It's so selfless and so team first.
It really doesn't feel like I did much, to get it. But I think that's like a part of it is like, it's just like a habitual thing that like is an everyday thing that kind of goes. It's just showing up every day. Really, that's kind of all it is. Showing up and just working and smiling and laughing and dancing. And love making.